Family vlogging, a form of content creation that often involves parents documenting their day-to-day lives alongside their children, has grown into a prominent and controversial space on platforms such as YouTube. Within this space, one name that has captured widespread attention is Shari Franke, a well-known figure in the family vlogging community, who, along with her husband Kevin Franke, ran the channel 8 Passengers. Their videos chronicled the lives of their 6 children, including their daughter Shari Franke, who has recently been a vocal critic of the family vlogging industry and its implications for the well-being of children. Shari Franke's criticisms have brought to light the ethical concerns surrounding family content, particularly the potential harm it can cause to children who grow up under the public eye. As the daughter of Shari Franke, Shari has had a unique perspective on the industry, one that allows her to reflect not only on her personal experiences, but also on the broader ethical implications of family vlogging. Shari has spoken out on multiple occasions about how being involved in the vlogging world has affected her life, and why she believes that family content, especially when children are involved, is inherently unethical. Family vlogging emerged as a significant genre on YouTube in the mid-2000s. The format revolves around sharing personal family moments, milestones, and experiences, often capturing mundane activities such as grocery shopping, birthday celebrations, and vacations. For many parents, family vlogging provided an opportunity to document their children's growth, create lasting memories, and even build a career by monetizing their content through advertisements, sponsorships, and brand partnerships. The appeal of family vlogs is undeniable. For viewers, they provide a window into the seemingly perfect, idealized lives of other families. The content is often designed to be wholesome and relatable, portraying a version of family life that resonates with viewers who are seeking connection and positivity. The Franke family's YouTube channel, 8 Passengers, was no exception. Shari and Kevin Franke's channel garnered millions of subscribers, largely due to its portrayal of a large, happy, and functional family. However, as Shari Franke has pointed out, the reality of living in such an environment is not always as idyllic as it may appear on camera. For children like Shari, who grew up in the spotlight, the consequences of this public exposure can be far-reaching, affecting their privacy, their mental health, and their development. Shari Franke's comments about family vlogging and her personal experiences with it have been critical, calling into question the ethics of using children for entertainment and profit. Her position stems from her lived reality, where her childhood was shaped by constant filming and the pressure to present a perfect family image to the world. According to Shari, this experience left her feeling uncomfortable, misunderstood, and vulnerable. One of Shari's main concerns with family vlogging is the invasion of privacy it imposes on children. Unlike adults who can make informed decisions about what parts of their lives they wish to share publicly, children often have no say in the matter. Their lives are documented without their consent, and the footage is often shared with millions of viewers. For children like Shari, this means their most intimate moments, such as family arguments, personal milestones, and sometimes even disciplinary actions, can be exposed to a global audience. This level of exposure can create a distorted sense of self-worth and can leave children feeling as though their privacy has been violated for the sake of entertainment. Shari's critiques highlight how the family's personal experiences were turned into consumable content. Whether it was a routine family dinner or a private conversation between her and her parents, moments that should have remained private were frequently recorded and uploaded to YouTube. This constant intrusion into the family dynamic has left Shari feeling as though she never had control over her own narrative. At the heart of Shari Franke's criticism lies the issue of exploitation. Family vlogging is not a purely altruistic endeavor. It is a commercial activity. Videos are monetized through ads, sponsorships, and sometimes product placements, all of which generate revenue for the parents. Shari has expressed concerns about the ethical implications of profiting from her and her siblings' lives, especially given that they were too young to consent to their involvement. Shari's situation is not unique. Many family vloggers exploit their children's innocence and personal growth to garner views and generate income. The videos often portray children in a highly curated light, presenting a sanitized and idealized version of family life. This is problematic because it reduces children to mere commodities, their personal lives and personalities serving as the content that sustains the family's brand. In many cases, children have no voice in how they are represented, and their emotional well-being is sacrificed for the sake of the vlog's success. Growing up in the public eye can have significant psychological and emotional effects on children. Shari has noted how constant exposure and the pressure to perform for the camera have led her to question her identity and self-worth. In some instances, children are encouraged to behave in certain ways, or even act out, because it is what garners the most views. This creates a feedback loop where children are constantly seeking validation from the online community, which can negatively impact their sense of self and emotional well-being. Additionally, the public scrutiny that comes with family vlogging can cause children to develop feelings of anxiety, depression, and self-doubt. With millions of subscribers, viewers often feel entitled to comment on every aspect of the child's life, from their appearance to their behavior. These constant critiques can take a toll on a child's mental health, especially when they are too young to process such feedback appropriately. Shari has also raised concerns about how family vloggers, including her own parents, often use vulnerable moments to drive views. This might include filming difficult family situations such as arguments, parental discipline, or moments of distress, and presenting them as part of the family's journey. While these moments may be real, the decision to broadcast them to the world can be seen as a manipulation of vulnerability for entertainment purposes. The ethical dilemma here is whether it is right to showcase these intimate, often painful moments for profit. Shari has expressed how these situations left her feeling exposed and uncomfortable, as if her struggles and emotional pain were being used for public consumption. Another significant issue Shari Franke has raised is the power imbalance between parents and children in family vlogging. Parents who control the family's YouTube channel are also the ones who determine what gets filmed and uploaded. This dynamic places children in a position where they have little control over their own lives, and their voices are drowned out by the demands of the content creation process. In the case of the Franke family, Ruby and Kevin were the ones who made the decisions about what content to produce. The children, especially the younger ones, were essentially required to perform for the camera, often without understanding the long-term consequences of their actions. As children grow older, this dynamic can be deeply problematic as they begin to form their own identities and seek more independence from their parents. Shari Franke's criticisms have become part of a larger conversation about the ethics of family vlogging, and her outspoken views are a call for reform in the industry. She advocates for the creation of a set of ethical guidelines to govern family vlogging practices, particularly regarding the involvement of children. These guidelines would prioritize the well-being and consent of children, ensuring that they are not exploited for profit and that their privacy and emotional health are safeguarded. One of the key components of this reform is the concept of consent. Shari believes that children should be given the autonomy to decide whether or not they want to participate in vlogs, and that their wishes should be respected by their parents and the broader vlogging community. She has also suggested that content creators should be more transparent about the impact vlogging has on children, encouraging families to have open conversations about the potential psychological consequences before entering the world of family content. Moreover, Shari has argued that family vloggers need to be more mindful of the ethical implications of monetizing their children's lives. Instead of focusing solely on financial gain, creators should consider the long-term effects on their children and the risks involved in exposing their lives to millions of strangers. In her view, the welfare of the child should always come before the pursuit of profit. Shari Franke's critiques of family vlogging highlight some of the most pressing ethical issues surrounding the genre, particularly when it comes to the involvement of children. Through her personal experience, Shari has shed light on the complex dynamics of growing up in the public eye and has advocated for a more ethical approach to family content creation. Jodi Hildebrandt is a name that became synonymous with a high-profile child abuse case that shook the community and raised important questions about the systems in place to protect vulnerable children. She was convicted of multiple counts of child abuse and exploitation. Yet, at the heart of this tragic and devastating case, Hildebrandt's own defense and statements regarding her conviction revealed a deeper story. Her claim, "I did not know my rights," echoes not only the confusion and missteps in her understanding of the law, but also the systemic flaws in how cases of child abuse are handled, investigated, and adjudicated in the court of law. The nature of Hildebrandt's case is deeply entangled with various societal and institutional issues that often go unnoticed until a high-profile case like hers exposes them. The struggle for justice, the search for accountability, and the ongoing debate about the rights of the accused versus the rights of the victim all come to a head when the case of Jodi Hildebrandt is discussed. This essay delves into Hildebrandt's claims, the evidence against her, the legal framework surrounding child abuse cases, and the broader societal implications of her conviction and subsequent appeal. In order to understand Jodi Hildebrandt's challenge to her conviction, it's necessary to first examine the events that led to the investigation and eventual charges against her. Hildebrandt was a licensed therapist working in a private practice, specializing in child psychology and family therapy. She had built a reputation as a trusted figure in her community, helping parents and children navigate difficult family dynamics and mental health challenges. However, what was seen by many as an altruistic profession would later become the backdrop for a deeply disturbing case of child abuse. The investigation into Hildebrandt's conduct began when one of her patients, a young child, disclosed disturbing details about their interactions with her during therapy sessions. These disclosures painted a picture of psychological and physical abuse, ranging from inappropriate touch to emotional manipulation. The child's account was not immediately taken seriously by some in the community, leading to initial doubts about the validity of the allegations. However, as further investigations unfolded, additional victims came forward, each one describing similar abuses. Evidence mounted against Hildebrandt, painting a picture of a woman who used her professional status to exploit and manipulate children. She was accused of not only committing physical abuse but also psychological harm through coercive tactics and manipulation of the children's emotions and vulnerabilities. The legal proceedings that followed were intense and highly publicized. The case quickly gained traction in the media, and Hildebrandt's name became known across the country. Those who had once trusted her were left in shock, unable to comprehend how someone in such a position of power and trust could have used it to harm those she was meant to protect. The conviction was a devastating blow to Hildebrandt, but it wasn't the end of the story. After the trial and her sentencing, Hildebrandt appealed her conviction, claiming that she had not been fully aware of her rights during the investigation and legal proceedings. She argued that there were certain protections that had not been extended to her, and she questioned the fairness of the trial. "I did not know my rights," she claimed during one of her statements following the conviction. This statement stirred mixed reactions from the public, some of whom saw it as an attempt to deflect responsibility, while others questioned whether her rights had indeed been violated. The assertion that she did not understand her rights suggests a deeper issue regarding the communication of legal procedures to defendants. In the U.S. legal system, the Miranda rights, which include the right to remain silent and the right to legal counsel, are designed to ensure that individuals accused of crimes are informed of their rights and can make informed decisions. However, Hildebrandt's claim opens up the possibility that there may have been significant gaps in her understanding of her position. This issue raises an important question. What happens when individuals who are legally accused of serious crimes, especially those involving child abuse, are unaware of the legal processes that could protect their rights? The difficulty of navigating the legal system, especially for those without prior experience with the law, cannot be understated. For someone like Hildebrandt, who was in a position of trust and authority, the misunderstanding of her legal rights may not have been an isolated incident, but rather a systemic failure to adequately inform her. In child abuse cases, the dynamics of the legal proceedings are often more complex than in other types of criminal cases. Children, especially those who are victims, can be highly vulnerable in legal settings, and there is a concerted effort to protect their privacy and ensure that they are not further traumatized during the legal process. As a result, the rights of the accused are weighed carefully against the rights of the victims. The case of Jodi Hildebrandt raises important questions about the intersection of the rights of the accused and the rights of the victims in child abuse cases. The accused has the right to a fair trial, the right to remain silent, and the right to legal representation. These are foundational principles in the U.S. legal system. However, these rights must be balanced with the need for justice for the victims, especially in cases where the victims are children who may not have the capacity to fully understand the legal process or articulate their experiences. In Hildebrandt's case, her appeal was partially based on the claim that her legal rights had not been fully communicated or protected. She pointed to the way in which the legal system, in its focus on the victims, may have inadvertently ignored the rights of the accused. This raises a key question about whether the legal protections afforded to the accused are sufficient in child abuse cases, where the stakes are incredibly high for both the victims and the accused. Child abuse cases are notoriously difficult to prosecute. The emotional and psychological manipulation involved in many cases of child abuse is often hard to prove, and the victims, particularly children, can be easily intimidated by the process. This is why experts in child psychology and forensic interviewing are often called upon to assess the credibility of child witnesses. For Jodi Hildebrandt, the case was not simply about the crimes she allegedly committed. It was also about the system in place to investigate, prosecute, and adjudicate such crimes. The difficulties she encountered in understanding the legal proceedings were a reflection of the broader challenges faced by many defendants in child abuse cases. While the prosecution and the victims may have been represented by legal counsel and expert witnesses who could advocate for them, Hildebrandt may have felt isolated in her defense, without the necessary tools to properly navigate the legal process. This brings attention to the larger issue of how the legal system handles defendants in cases of child abuse. Are the rights of the accused sufficiently protected? Are they given fair notice and opportunity to understand the charges against them and defend themselves? Hildebrandt's case may shine a light on potential deficiencies in the way legal rights are communicated, particularly in complex cases involving child victims. The conviction and subsequent appeal of Jodi Hildebrandt are not just legal matters, they are also psychological and societal issues. Child abuse, especially by someone in a trusted position like a therapist, can have long-lasting effects on the victims and on society as a whole. The psychological trauma that children endure in such cases is incalculable, often leading to difficulties in forming healthy relationships, emotional regulation, and overall mental health. Hildebrandt's case underscores the importance of vigilant oversight in professions that deal with vulnerable individuals, particularly children. It is vital that institutions, whether schools, medical facilities, or therapeutic practices, establish robust systems for protecting children and holding perpetrators accountable. On a societal level, the case raises questions about how we as a community define and respond to child abuse. Are we doing enough to prevent such abuses from happening? How can we ensure that children are protected, while also safeguarding the rights of the accused? These are difficult questions, but there are questions that need to be asked as we continue to evolve our legal and social frameworks in response to child abuse cases. As Jodi Hildebrandt's appeal continues, the legal community will undoubtedly be watching closely. Her claim of not understanding her rights in the context of her trial will likely spark debates about the fairness and accessibility of legal procedures for those facing serious charges. The outcome of her appeal could have wide-reaching implications for future cases, not just in child abuse but in other criminal matters as well. Moreover, the case will likely continue to shape how we think about the rights of the accused versus the rights of the victims in criminal trials. The concept of justice, fairness, and accountability will continue to evolve as courts are presented with increasingly complex cases involving vulnerable populations. In conclusion, the case of Jodi Hildebrandt is far from just a legal battle over a conviction. It is a reflection of the intricate and often challenging intersection of rights, responsibilities, and societal obligations.